Garrett Crochet has been traded to the Red Sox. Let's talk about it up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, December 12th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Chris Towers. Garrett Crochet, blockbuster trade, moves over to the Boston Red Sox in exchange for 4 prospects, including Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, Chase Meidroth, and pitcher Wickelman Gonzalez. Chris, we know Crochet, a breakout pitcher this year, nasty strikeout stuff. Obviously going from one of the worst teams in baseball to a little bit of a better one. What's your evaluation of the trade here for Garrett Crochet?
Yeah, so I think the first thing you have to talk about with Garrett Crochet is just that there are unknowns about Garrett Crochet that we basically cannot answer. And better lineup backing him up, better defense backing him up, worse home park, those things matter on the edge. And if what Garrett Crochet showed in 2024 is real, he is not the type of pitcher where that matters very much. Like, the margins don't really matter if you're a 35% strikeout rate guy, especially if you're a 5% walk rate guy, which he was last year. He led the majors in strikeout minus walk rate, led the majors, I believe, in xFIP, was like 7th in xERA because he does give up a little hard contact. You can live with that when you strike out 35%. But the thing is, and this is what we can't answer, is how does he handle going from 30 innings in 2023 and about 70 between when he was drafted in 2020 and 2023 to 146 last year? And had the weird second half, wasn't being used as a real starter, was much less effective overall as a result. I don't really hold any of that against him. It's just, we don't know how this guy who's dealt with a lot of injuries is going to handle coming off of a 150 inning season, being asked to throw 180 this season. It's a total unknowable. I think there is top 5 upside here. I think he might be one of the 3 or 4 most talented pitchers in baseball. The problem is he's being drafted right now as a top 5 pitcher since the start of December in NFC ADP. And that's drafting at the ceiling, and that can work out. It's not the right way to draft. So if it costs a top 5 pick, and I can't imagine the price is going down after going from White to Red Sox, I think I'm probably out on Garrett Crochet, unfortunately, because I would certainly like to have him on my teams. I think he's awesome.
Let's talk about another trade that went down. The Rangers were looking to beef up their lineup because they acquired Jake Burger from the Marlins in exchange for 3 prospects, Ichedri Vargas, Max Acosta, and Brian Mendoza. You know, we know that Burger took a step back from 2023, but still has a lot of power, hits the ball hard. Chris, how does everything fit with the Rangers now? Because it looks like Burger can play DH. They have Nathaniel Lowe at first base. They have Josh Young at third base. They have a full outfield. They have some kind of viable players on the bench there too. Do you perhaps see this as a downgrade for Jake Burger?
So it's a better park. It's a much better lineup. Those things matter. And if Jake Burger, if playing time is equal, I think you like him more than you did before he got traded to Texas. The problem is I view it more as insurance for multiple spots, maybe like weirdly kind of insurance for like 3 different spots, right? Because Nathaniel Lowe has been pretty disappointing. Josh Young has dealt with a lot of injuries over the past like 30 months, wrist, shoulder, missed a lot of time last year. And then Evan Carter, who plays center field. Don't worry. I know Jake Burger's not going to play center field for the Texas Rangers. I'm aware. But they have enough flexibility that, like, if Evan Carter's back injury from last year crops up again, they can shuffle some guys around. They were more comfortable with Wyatt Langford playing the corner outfields last year. He's got a lot of athleticism, but probably not a center fielder. But, you know, if you need him to play left field, Leody Taveras can play center. You can slot Jake Burger at DH. I think it's just, this is how teams are built now. You know, everybody wants contingencies on contingencies. I think Jake Burger is maybe plays 80% of the time if everything's right, and it can still matter. Could still hit 25 homers and drive in some runs, but the problem is he's so one-dimensional. He is just a power hitter. If he doesn't hit for power, he really doesn't do very much. So not only do I think there's a chance that he, hits 30 home runs, I think there's a chance that Jake Berger is fairly irrelevant for fantasy after this trade, because if he's putting up a 280 on base percentage by midseason, the Rangers aren't going to have a lot of incentive to play him.
Yeah,
I think it makes it a lot riskier for him.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of volatility in the outcomes here for Jake Berger, because if he picks up where he left off in the second half and he gets off to a hot start and he's just popping home runs, obviously has value there, and doing that in the middle of a pretty good Rangers lineup, there's a lot of fantasy value there. But as you mentioned, if he gets off to if he has the first half that he had with the Marlins last year,
he might just not play.
He might, be DFA'd by like mid-season.
Honestly, yeah.
So, there's a wide range of outcomes here. The ADP doesn't seem to think so, because over at the NFBC, he's being drafted at 127.2. So,
and is it going to go down as a result of this trade? It should not have been that high to begin with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it should go down, but I already had him 50 spots lower than this. So I can't think I would be comfortable drafting Jay Berger until like 150th at the earliest.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again on Saturday. Bye-bye.